All right. Hey, Bays, Media Bays here. Listen, you guys saw our guest for tonight. I'm just really excited to talk to this young man. But let's take care of some business before we get started. Welcome to Let's Talk Show hosted by Media Bay. Hey, Bays. Listen, make sure you like, share, comment if you join the conversation. Hey, let us know what you want to ask them. Let us know what you think. This will be a really fun, exciting show. Just stay tuned, you guys. I have some really cool little tricks in the and little secrets in the production today. So if you're enjoying the information, you're liking what you're hearing, make sure you like, share, comment, share this live, share this video, invite a friend, invite all the friends. Why not? Invite all the bays. Also, if you're interested in being a sponsor, make sure you visit heymediabay.com so you can provide your information and let's talk about how you can be a sponsor. So let me give you a quick little summary because we're gonna get to know Prince Navon together. I still can't believe he's 15, like super talented. But let's bring him on because I'm excited. I'm excited to talk to him. Very humble, very just seems down to earth. You guys will see it. So let me bring him on. Hey, how are you? Oh, hold on. You gotta unmute yourself. You muted yourself. Oh, there you go.
You good now?
Yes, I can. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm awesome. I'm amazing. So, first and foremost, how are you handling and surviving right now this COVID lifestyle that we're living?
It's interesting to say the least. I would say I didn't expect to have to grow up in this day and age where we was in the middle of a pandemic.
Right?
But
And then
it's
as an artist too.
yeah, it's definitely hard as an artist because like all shows and it's just so much with the media is just like on pause right now. It's a little hard. But
Everything's on hold.
it's all good because it gives you more time to strategize and kind of not necessarily pace yourself, but you don't feel like you necessarily trying to race with a bunch of people who run it, but you got your situation all over the place. Like you feel me, balance yourself out a little bit, but that don't mean stop.
I like that response. That is very I really like that response. Now, I will say, do you feel like it's made you have to get really creative? I feel like COVID's made us extra creative, think out the box.
For sure. Yeah, you got to get creative during times like this because when so many resources are on pause, like shows, because shows is a big marketing pool for artists, but that stopped because of Corona. So it's like basically now everything is on the media, everything is on the internet. So that's money, that's marketing. Like you now have to find ways to just completely gain all of those resources from off of the internet. That's why a lot of artists right now, bro, they struggling right now because they was completely relying upon shows to pay their bills, and now they don't went out and bought a whole bunch of nothing. And their revenue income sources is not where they supposed to be. A lot of artists didn't invest their money the right way.
Listen, we're only a few minutes in, and oh my gosh, your mindset is just on another level. But we're gonna get to that. ATL born.
For sure, East Atlanta
and Queen City, North Carolina, raised. So, at what point in time, or do you remember when you went to North Carolina?
I was about, I want to say 4, 5 maybe. And yeah, I came to North Carolina. I gotta remember back when we moved here, when I first, cause I've been homeschooled for like most of my life. So when I got to Charlotte, I kind of like I went to elementary school and then I went in and kind of like popped right back out. And I've been out since like 7th grade when I went back into the public school system. So yeah, I just finished my freshman year. I'm going into my sophomore year now, but I'm not in public school anymore just because of music. Like my people decided it was best for me to just
balance that way.
Yeah, definitely.
So right now you reside in North Carolina.
Yes, ma'am.
Do you plan to move to Atlanta? Because Atlanta became the next, like, it's entertainment
Yeah, it
everything.
did. It did. I feel like Charlotte kind of turning into that though. In a couple years, I feel like Charlotte gonna be the new Atlanta, but Atlanta's definitely a place to go and do business. I'll say that much. So I
Okay.
don't know. Maybe I might make that a place where I reside at, but I don't know about moving there to stay. I don't know. I don't know.
So you're 15 now, though, right?
Yeah. Yes,
Do
man.
you feel 15 though?
Um, like what you mean, like mentally?
So, yeah, mentally, and even because, and I say that from my experience, I know when I started going into the real world, I was still a teen when I was like working, for example, at my job, but I was surrounded by so many older people because the industry for predominantly is older.
Yeah.
So you end up hearing, and you're around all this stuff, and it's hard to take in. Like an average 15-year-old, it's probably a whole their process is or what they're thinking about is not the longevity you're thinking about.
Yeah, for sure. Nah, I mean, from that standpoint, yeah, I do. I think I'm not way older than 15, but definitely. I always felt like that though. Like I never really felt in complete mental sequence or
With your
sync, I guess,
age,
yeah,
with your
sync
number
with my
age.
age group. Yeah, like I never, but a lot of that came from, like I said, I've been homeschooled most of my life, so I didn't grow up around my peers like at all. I
Mm,
really first started getting back into like my peer group at like seventh grade, but you got to think I was already like 12 then, 11, 12. And then I went through that and then popped right back out during my, like kind of in the middle of my freshman year. Cause I didn't even finish my freshman year in high school. I got through like the
really?
first, the first half of my, of my freshman year and then went homeschool. So yeah, it just come from,
So,
it just
I
come from
mean,
not being around my peers so much, but being around OGs. Cause I got both of my parents heavy in my life. My dad, he always been the one to give me game, and he gave me life how it was. Like he never sugarcoated anything with me. He gave it to me raw, and he always had me around people that was giving it to me raw too. And he would put me around some people that was flawed, so I could see them for who they was. I recognize people. I recognize to read people at a very young age. So yeah, I would say that I'm a little bit ahead of my age group.
now you started at 9.
Mm.
Now, was it this something that you was like, I want to sing, I want to rap, or is it that everyone around you just noticed? Because either it's the child has a direct ask for this, or sometimes they just notice that's just what you always music is just what you always kind of sway to.
Yeah. When I was what really made me start rapping, like I really just did it as an experiment. I always loved music. Like music was just something that's been in me for all my life. My parents, they met in the music industry. My
Oh,
father used to be an engineer and my mother was a songwriter. So they met in like the same line of work.
it's making
And then they
sense.
just fell in love and one thing led to another. And here
You're
I
a
am.
music love story.
Yeah. But nah, I really just did it. I did it at first as an experiment because my dad, I will always be around him. And growing up, I never really, like, that's what I'm saying. Like, I feel I'm just different from my age group because I ain't even listen to the same music that they was into. I really wasn't even exposed to social media until I was about 9.
Okay.
I went without social media for a long time. Like,
Yeah, it's overrated. No, I'm just
like it is. I hated on it. But we'll get into that in a minute though. Like when I was younger, like listening to music, I always listened to like real hip hop, like old school music.
Oh,
I listened to a
wow.
lot of really lyrical artists like Logic and Most Def, Talib Kweli, like people like that. They're like Jay-Z. My dad is a very heavy Jay-Z fan. My first song that I ever wrote was a remix to Jay-Z's Pound Cake that he did with Drake. And I knew that was my dad's favorite song. That's why I kind of said it was an experiment because I just stayed up until like 5 o'clock in the morning. I had a laptop because my parents had bought me a little laptop, right? And I was like, let me just see if I could do a little something to this. So I stayed up until like 5 o'clock in the morning and I wrote 16 bars to the Pound Cake by Jay-Z and Drake. And then the next day, I went with my dad to work. And then I went upstairs because he had a loft upstairs and I used to be upstairs cooling and I'd be watching stuff on my computer. And then I came downstairs and was like, hey, Dad, let me show you something. And then I spit the 16 to him. God is my witness. He ain't believe I wrote it. So he made me go back upstairs in the loft and write another 16.
He's
And
like, oh
like,
no, I need to make sure this for real,
he
for
had
real.
to, he had to make sure because I told him I swore up and down that I wrote it, but he just didn't believe it because of the type of stuff that I was saying just wasn't the type of lyrical content that you would expect a
It blew
9-year-old
his
to come up with.
mind.
Yeah, but when I went back down, I came back down like 2 hours later with another 16. So he was just like, okay, and then he took me to the studio. I think that next weekend, and I recorded like the entire song. Like I kind of like redid the hook to it, and then I laid down the two verses, and I just, I
That's
guess he seen
dope.
something in me, and yeah, I am. So
So
it's
that
been,
that starting year,
yeah,
you know, what was that memorable moment within that starting year? Because it's exciting, you know.
yeah, for sure. Um, Definitely recording. I say it was a beautiful experience for me because it just felt so natural. Like doing it, it just felt like I'm supposed to be here. Like it didn't feel forced at all. It didn't. I was kind of nervous just because it was my first time and I didn't really know what to expect. But once I got into like that zone as a creative, it was just like it's like nah, okay, cool. This what we doing, but like even the engineer that was in the studio, like I will say that when it comes to everything and like as far as being an artist that I've done the first time, anybody that I've worked with doing it my first time never would have believed that it was my first time doing it. My first time recording, my first time shooting a music video, my
Everything.
first time. I don't really know how it was my first time performing. I know I was nervous, but I don't know how other people might have looked at it. But I wouldn't be surprised if I looked like I knew what I was doing a little bit, you know. But I always,
Dang.
as far as just being the creative, it's a lot of things that come naturally to me, which I'm thankful for.
So let me ask you, because there's a particular song, Mike Tyson, um, which, you know, give us some information about this song because I also saw, it got you some notoriety when
Yeah. Now
so
that
so
song, that song was just fun. Shout out to my boy Sean the First. He did a lot of work for the baby early on. We linked up and he produced this song,
uh,
Mike Tyson. But yeah, it was really just a fun record, like on some turn up type time. Like I think it was like December of last year, so it kind of had like that dark winter kind of coldish vibe, but at the same time it still had a little bit of like fun energy in it. And I always been a fan of like boxing and Mike Tyson. Like I used to box before I started rapping. I used to box, and Mike Tyson. I don't know. It's just something about Mike Tyson. Between Muhammad Ali and Mike Tyson, them has always been my two favorite boxers. When I was boxing, and even now, sometimes like I used to be a heavy fanatic as far as like looking at Mike Tyson's boxing clips and videos and him knocking people out in 30 seconds. Like I always been a big fan of Mike Tyson. But yeah, just like the whole concept with your diamonds biting, like they shining in the light and
I
all that.
see that.
I just found a way to tie that into my diamonds got that bite back like Mike Tyson. Because of him and Evander Holyfield's fight, I thought it was just something fun to do. But yeah, that's how that
So
was going.
that I mean, first of all, like dope production. I
For
mean, I'm
sure.
trying to like I'm like, okay, okay.
Yeah, we had fun doing that.
Now was this your first official music video?
Like yeah,
Yeah.
that was my first like official music video. I think was that. Dang, this is wow. Hold on, I gotta remember. We did because I remember when I first started like putting music out, I did a lot of like remixes. Like I was taking
Got
other
it.
like just viral content.
Yeah.
That's
Almost
how
like
I
the
built.
way people do covers, just to kind of make people aware of you.
Yeah, but like
Okay.
some next level, like taking something and then really just turning it into my own, like taking somebody else's song, redoing the hook like in my own way, writing the 16 to it, shooting the music video for it with a crazy concept. Like we did that to build my numbers up, like just viral content like that. When I first started out. I can't remember if I was doing this before or after I shot Mike Tyson, but I feel like it was after. I feel like it was before I shot Mike Tyson after. So yeah, that
I
while I was doing
mean,
that, Mike Tyson was like the biggest thing that I had done. That's the biggest
dope,
video I shot so far. I know for a fact.
dope. I just have to just say that. Now, I do have to ask you
Mm-hmm.
because it's coming up. Mike Tyson versus Roy Jones Jr.?
Yes, September 14th.
Of
Yeah.
course, I assume I know who you're rooting for.
Nah, Roy like that too. Roy like that too, but I'm Team Tyson.
Now Roy got into music heavy.
I didn't even know that.
A couple of years ago, he did a really dope tape. I think it was called Body Head Bangers.
Mm.
So if you ever get a chance, I was like really impressed. Actually, he has some joints on there. Yeah.
They good?
Yeah. I think so.
I'm gonna
But
go listen to it. I'm gonna tell you if it's up.
I'll be waiting. So now, what would be right now? I said, Navon, here's the but. So let me ask you this first. Right now, based on your skill, what you as an artist, your talent, who would you match yourself up with on a versus battle?
That's let me see.
Current or past, it doesn't matter. It's if you could right now. Now, don't think catalog. Think of your talent, your skill.
That's a hard one, for real. Cause like when I say that's hard, I mean like I don't know. I think it's just because I don't really listen to a lot of like music modern. Cause I feel like I have more hints of like older soulful ish
That's fine.
sounds like in me, but my music is more so like it satisfies the modern day ear. So I say that like I don't really listen to a lot of people that's out now. Like I don't listen. I listen to a bunch of different genres. Like my ears, like I just love music overall. I don't really know anybody that I guess I sound or you could put me in a playlist with. I'll say that.
Okay.
I'll say that.
So that's dope though, because sometimes and I've had that. I've listened to an artist go, dang, they really sound like so and so.
Yeah.
And sometimes, a lot of times, that's what you get. But let's say I now say I got Versus gave me a budget. I want you in charge of doing some dope matchups. Doesn't matter, the generation. Give me what would be your top 3 matchups. Who would you like to see go toe to toe?
I like to see. I might could give you one matchup. Let me see if I can come up with one.
It's very interesting because till you actually have to do it yourself or kind of put it together, you be like, dang.
Yeah, like it's hard.
Part of it too, I've realized, is like you don't want to feel like you offend somebody if it's not the right matchup. Sometimes I've listened to that from people, but then sometimes you're like, gosh, do you go style? Do you do style, or do you do catalog, or do you do
that's a difficult one. Yeah, and it's like it's crazy because when you see it, like when you see the matchup, if somebody posted it, like so and so is doing the verses this weekend, you'll be like, ooh, like it's a no-brainer. But when you actually got to think of it and do it yourself, it's like, who
would you like to see though?
Yeah. Let me think like modern.
Modern, or even right now, shoot, I feel like Lil Baby could probably go up against, oh my gosh, what's his name?
NBA Youngboy.
Yeah.
I see that.
That would be fire.
Yeah.
They're young, but they got hits after hits after hits.
Yeah, they both do big numbers. That's a heavy debate on the media too. I be seeing that. That's a heavy debate. Yeah, a lot
of the verses have been older. Like people have used it to be nostalgic. So there's not a lot of right now new ones. Like honestly, even Roddy.
Ooh, Roddy Rich. Ooh.
Yeah.
I want to see him in man, Roddy Rich, and I want to see Roddy Rich and the Baby. I wonder how many, because they both kind of started popping around the same time. That's why I say that. Yeah. I'm just wondering like who really got more in their catalog that they could stand on.
I,
But
I might on that one. I might sway Roddy because Roddy just has this way of his. It's just something about even his sound that you just I don't even know. It's just
nah,
something
Roddy's
about
special. It's just the thing about the baby is he kind of like he capitalized off of rap. Like it's a lot of people in the industry that's coming out now, including myself, that like we got like we actually rap. Like if somebody was to ask us if we sing or rap, I ain't gonna say either one. I'm an artist. That's what I say to people that ask me if I
him.
sing or rap. I'm an artist. I do as
Sound
I
like A
feel.
Boogie.
I do as I feel in the moment. You know, when you look at back to the basics and friendly reminder, I'm rapping on a friendly reminder, and back to the basics, I'm still spitting, but I have melody in my delivery. So it's like it's really just whatever I feel like fits the track more. I don't never try and force anything. It's just what comes out, comes out. But the baby, going back to him, he capitalized off of just bars. You get what I'm saying? Like he just
Yeah.
capitalized off of rapping,
Because I'll
but he
hear
still
people
did
say
his
that
thing.
when he'll say something and they be like, oh, I'm like, okay.
Yeah,
That's
nah,
when I
baby
pay
hard.
attention to if people paying attention to the bars or more of like the cadences and the vibe.
That too. That too. Them all important factors that come in. But yeah, baby hard.
Okay, okay. All right. Now, I saw you were able to kind of work with some really dope producers. Producers that to me, of course, people always will be like, they see Teddy Riley. But for me, I grew up when Jazzy Faye was just effing it up.
Yeah.
Like, I immediately, like, I hear Jazzy Faye, I just think of everything that even Sierra, like, he was so instrumental during that time. And I just,
So
man, he's just, I can only imagine, when you work with people like that, for me, it's always been interesting to be around those greats and see their creative process. How was it for you?
Jazzy is a character, man.
He
Jazzy,
sounds like it.
he's just one of them people. Like his energy will light up a room. Like Jazzy is a character. He's very musical. I'll say that. Like Jazzy is the type to have a song for every situation. Like you know how mamas do. That's Jazzy. That's Jazz. Like switch that, but then put it into a male's character. That's Jazzy. But Jazzy a cool cat for real. Nah, Jazzy cool.
What
He's
did you
really
learn from them? Because I mean, those are some greats, and early on, and to meet them right now, where you at in your career, like that's not a lot of people can say that because that type of experience and interaction can really help, really mold you.
Mm. Let me see. One thing that I learned from Jazzy. Jazzy ain't really teach me a lot because I hadn't been around Jazzy for like a long time.
Mm-hmm.
Like I think me and Jazzy on like I'd only been around Jazzy in the studio maybe 2 or 3 times. Like in the studio where he could physically like show me
Show you
things and
something.
teach me things. But the first time that we made a song and the first time that we had made a song, he didn't really teach me anything. It was more so like I watched him produce and work with the 2 other producers he had in the room, but it was mostly just I guess him watching me go see and do what I do by myself. I guess I don't know if it was testing me, seeing what I could do on my own, but
That
yeah,
happens a
I
lot.
ain't
They
doing
want to
much
see
to
how
that.
you hold your own. They like to
Yeah,
see, okay, is
which
he
is I
serious about
respect
this?
it. Yeah, I respect it.
Okay. Now, voice of the voiceless. Explain that to me. I like that.
So,
That is just so. But explain that to me because it's
uh, this is
interesting.
this is a deep one. So basically, me being the voice of the voiceless, I have a brand. The name of my brand is Solo. Solo is an
Okay.
acronym. The acronym is Solitude Only Loves Outcasts. The definition of solitude is the state or situation of being alone. The definition of an outcast is a person rejected by a group of society. Now, that meaning solitude only loves outcasts. And when I say outcast, that basically refers back to the introverted group of the world. Like me, I'm a very heavy introvert. When I said I don't like, I've been, I left school. Like I've never really been comfortable in school. Like school was never a comfortable field for me, just because it was so many people around that like I don't like a whole bunch of energies around me at one time. My
Oh, you
anxiety
were ready
goes
for
up pretty fast.
quarantine.
Yeah, like this ain't really. It's kind of hectic now just because you in the crib for so long and it's somebody telling you that you got to stay here, as opposed to how it was before. You kind of had a choice, like maybe I want to go and exercise
And
my
do this.
social energy today.
Not
Now you can't
today.
even do that. You guys almost
You
like you
better go
gotta
live
stay in the
on
house.
Instagram.
That's about as the most you can do. That's safe. But yeah, nah, just going back to being an introvert, I feel like it's different types of introverts in the world, but the one that mainly like my brand is associated with, like the voice of the voiceless, that's the people that's introverted because they feel like them being themselves in the world is like not validated, or they feel like what they say or what they may stand for and speak about because they other people can't accept them for who they are, or they feel like the elephant in the room everywhere that they go. They feel like their voice isn't worth nothing, or they don't really have nobody to speak for them because ain't nobody really pushing that. Like you got a lot of introverted artists that's just automatically like that, like Lil Wayne, but you don't really hear people like speaking about that and addressing it in songs because it's a lot of people in the world like that. So me being the voice of the voices is just somebody that people like that can look up to because I know how it feels to be like that and not have anybody in that introverted space. The kid in the classroom that feel like he got to sit in the corner and just never have his back to the class and just watch everything going on and not have nobody else say. Well, that's been me countless times, and it's comfortable, but at the same time, it's uncomfortable. So that's just I feel like I may say things in my songs that if you listen to and catch them, you'll be like, okay, that's what he's talking about. But a lot of people in my age demographic don't really listen to songs for lyrics. They listen to it for vibe. But I feel like
Mhm.
being in an introverted space like that, especially if you're in a situation where you're around people a lot, you kind of need a safe place to go. And I want my music to be the safe place for people like that. That song that you could just listen to that just takes you into a different stratosphere, and you kind of just forget about all of the troubles that you have going on around you and all of the negative energy. You could just tune
So
into
it
whatever you
sounds like
listen to.
music is your safe space
It
as well.
is. It is. Cause I don't I'm an introvert in the space also too. I don't like to talk about a lot of things that I may go through in my problems. I get a lot of that stuff out through my music, whether
Okay.
that be lyrically, whether that be performance wise, whether it be both. I get a lot of that through out through my artistry. So yeah,
So when you perform, does
so,
it feel sometimes like a relief? Because, I've always thought about that when you, if as an artist, when you
yeah,
use your music to express yourself, and in that artistic form, you go on the stage, which takes a lot. You give a lot to the world when you perform.
for sure.
Um, but listening to you speak, it just made me realize like I can only, does that feel like a relief? Because it's almost like when you let it out, and they know, but they
It
in the way that
does.
they appreciate you.
It does. It puts you in a light where you feel like people appreciate you. And coming from a space like I do, where you feel like ain't really a lot of people around you that's like really appreciative of you the way that you are. Yeah, being on the stage it's a confidence booster. It's an ego booster because the screams of the crowd and the support of the crowd, it makes you feel like something.
That's
You know?
definitely a high. It gives a
Yeah,
just natural high.
it's a high. Yeah, which
You
is
get off
dangerous because
the
it's.
adrenaline be pumping.
I look though, it's dangerous because you get
Hmm.
in that space, and then once you start to get used to that, that's it's like any other drug. Once you start getting that high, the more and more and more you start to collect that high and from that same source, the high gonna start to go away. And once it goes away, you feel empty. That's why you hear about a lot of artists with all this money. But then once they kind of fade off a little bit or they fame dies down and popularity and clout goes away, you hear about them jumping off of bridges. Like
And they ain't getting
like
their fix.
yeah, like
Almost like a
it's the
relapse. Like,
high. So I try not to get too caught up in that space because I know a lot of people is like that. Like you got key supporters and you got fans. Your key supporters, that's your diehard fan base. They
mhm.
always gonna be there because they appreciate you. Those are the people that get to know you for you and your artistry, and they connect to you through that. But the fans is only gonna be around when it's hot. Once it ain't hot no more, the fan go off.
Man, yo, brain on, boy. You,
Nah,
boy,
for real.
you,
I'm telling you,
you.
I'm already knowing. So
Not,
yeah, I try not to get too caught up in that space because I don't want to ever feel like you feel me. The fan not gonna ever play with my emotions to where I feel like it got control over them. I ain't never gonna do that to myself, or at least I'm gonna try.
Now let me ask you about back to basics, because you have it as a freestyle. You know, it's sex. So I like when songs get kind of labeled as a freestyle. I like the stories behind them a little bit. And I was just telling you, like, I really like this, just this. I don't know. It just makes me feel bouncy. I don't even know how to describe it, but
Yeah.
speaking to you now, right, and watching the video, you started with the records. Like it, I see it now. I hear it now because you mentioned, you know, the old school, like the back in the day stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So, how this song came about?
It came about. I found this beat off of YouTube because I used to do a lot of that. Like before I started working with like producers, I was always on YouTube, like looking for beats and all of that. Like I still sometimes I do it to this day just to exercise my pen when I'm not physically out. Like that's a part of like I was just speaking about being staying productive during quarantine. My fault. Staying productive during quarantine. Like you're not physically out at the studio all of the time. You in the crib. What you just gonna do? Sit and twiddle your thumbs. So, and I always like to exercise my artistry because it's just like I said, it's fun for me, and I always like to improve. So this was one of the beats that I found just playing, and I love samples. Like samples bring the beast out of me every time. Like lyrically, I love going in on samples, and yeah, this was just one of them songs I just had fun with. Like the song really don't even have no chorus for real. And I called it back to the basics because when I first started rapping, like I said, my first song was over the Pound Cake instrumental by Jay-Z. And I was really just spitting back then. Like it wasn't about no melodies to me. Like I had no idea I would sound anything like how I sound now. I had no idea that I was gonna be like this back then. Like I was really just in the
It's
bars
growth.
because that's all that I was hearing back then. You feel me? So when I called it back to the basics. Basically, just I guess paying homage to my roots coming up, right? How it wasn't really more so. It was more so about the bars for me, but I still kind of gave it my melodic touch that I have now. But I mainly just went into my bars in that song, so it was fun.
So I have to ask, who went around looking for? Because I noticed there was a Tupac cassette.
Mm.
You know, who had to go find all that? Oh, y'all just had it.
What you mean, like the Tupac reference in the song?
Nah, I noticed the cassettes. I pay
Oh,
attention to
like the
all those
props
details.
and all of
Yeah,
that.
I
My
pay attention
dad,
to all of
I'm
that.
telling you, my dad had them in his basement. I mean, I said basement, the attic. Yeah, he had them up there.
Man,
He had all of that stuff up there. Like we was
classic.
scrambling around trying to find like the set. Like we was trying to find what the set was gonna be, how we was gonna do everything, and it just came to him. He was like, he went upstairs to go look in the attic, and we had like records, we had the little tapes, we had the what you call
The
the
record
thing?
player.
Yeah, like we had
Yeah,
all of that in the attic. All of that was sitting up there collecting
that
dust.
stuff
So
right
yeah,
now is classic stuff. That stuff now you
swear to
could bring
God.
back out, and people will walk into your crib, be like,
Yeah,
"Yo."
now they antiques, but we just found a way to use them, and it's different because ain't nobody doing stuff like that now. So it
Nah,
would catch. We figured that it would catch people's eye.
of
You
course,
know,
because I'm telling you, I was just like, "Oh, okay,
that's the way
I
to
see
do it.
you,
Finding
I see
different,
you."
finding ways to do things different without making you like and standing out to people
And
on
not
the
letting it
media.
seem so forced, because that came, it just flowed. It
Yeah,
even just felt like it was just you,
you
like your
know,
vibe.
it's sophisticated but fun at the same time, and that's my character.
Oh,
That's my character. But yeah, just finding ways to stand out and be different, but not looking like a clown. Cause people on the media tend to do that a lot.
yeah,
Just
they'll do that.
that be that microwave fame though. You do something
That
stupid
instant.
just to gain a little bit of views. But yeah, it's like it don't last long. I give somebody that do that maybe a year at most. Like it don't last long at all. Like the longevity is in the work. The longevity is in the creativity. The longevity is in getting people to attach to you as an artist. People not going to attach to you being a clown. They just gonna laugh.
Mm,
You could get a lot of
facts.
likes on Instagram, but them likes
Facts.
could just be people laughing at you. I ain't trying to that ain't what I'm going for.
So right now you're pushing um friendly reminder, right?
Yeah.
This opening scene, was that like even in this, like there I could tell it's like there's nostalgia with it that
Mm-hmm.
shows like, but what did you want to give us with this? Because I see a lot of almost like a reflection docu type of vibe, like
Yeah.
friendly reminder of I've been grinding towards this.
A friendly reminder has so many messages in it. Like a friendly reminder for me was kind of like a pre-victory chant. Like it was just so many different messages that I got across in that song. It dealt with different things going on in the world. It dealt with like how now the things that's going on in the world with like police brutality and all of this stuff that's coming to the light. Like it's just, it goes back. It's a lot of references in like old school hip hop. Like one of the things I was playing in the background, like on the projector, was the video. It was called Self Destruction, with KRS-One and all of them. But yeah, it was basically it was a bunch of symbolism in that video, like a lot. It was in so many different places, but it all came together. It made sense. It was just one of them videos that you gotta like. It's almost that video is almost like a book. Like you ever read a book that you had to kind of, you read it a couple times, but each time you read it, you would catch different things that you never caught
Yes,
the previous time. That's
yes,
that video.
that's what this has.
Yeah, it's a
Okay.
lot of different messages in there.
I mean, I have it here for folks to make sure they go check out. It's available on all platforms.
For sure.
Right, right,
All of
right.
them.
But let me ask you, right?
Yeah. Miss Me. That's the song
What's
I got
that?
coming out on August 7th. August 7th. August 7th. This basically, it's a song that it highlights my desire and my devotion towards getting like the finer things that I see in this life. But
Okay.
mainly the message in it is just me saying anybody in my circle or anybody that's around me that's not on the same type of time, they can miss me with it. That's the phrase that I want to, big
Okay.
up. They can miss me with it because you got to have the right people in your circle, or whatever goal that you reaching towards. It's not gonna work by having the wrong people around you. You basically placing yourself in a bucket of crabs. You already know how that works. You trying to climb to the top, and the next man pulling you down. So yeah, that's what that song is. But yeah, August 7th, that's when it's coming out. That's really like a
August
week from
7th.
now.
Yeah, I was just about to say, it don't even feel like it, right? You know, I feel like we just started July like last week,
Yeah.
but literally, what is it? Saturday is August. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, so next week. Next
Time
week.
going by fast. That's crazy. But
So
yeah.
the song comes out August 6th.
Mm-hmm.
What's next? What else are do you got going on in the lab in the
I know for a fact. I got an album coming out during the latter part of the year. In between then, I'ma just like after Miss Me, leading up to the album, I'ma just be dropping more singles. Really just
keep the
exposing like,
crowd engaged?
yeah, keep
People
the
home
crowd
streaming
engaged.
anyway, so give them something to
So
watch, right?
viral content, more so just showing people like the different places that or the different aspects that my artistry can cater to, I guess.
Okay, okay. Now we know the tongue, the mouth, like what we speak is very powerful,
For
right?
sure.
If you could have right now your dream venue to perform at, where is that dream location that you plan to perform?
I honestly don't study a lot of venues, but if I was to just say, I would say the Hornets basketball stadium.
Okay,
I want to perform in my city in front of the arena. Like
there you go.
that's one thing in my
That's
career that
that'll be dope. Outside.
I ain't know I'm worth way more than a club date. I know that for a fact.
You
I'm
bring
aiming
it
for
outside,
arenas.
you turn it into Prince Navon Festival. I'm just
I'm
saying,
turning up, swear. But
just
yeah, I'm
what
going
it,
for arenas.
arenas.
I'm aiming for the greatest. Want to be like Tupac for sure.
Oh, oh my goodness, this was a really really dope performance. I mean, not performance interview, but let everybody know where they can find you. I'm gonna do a little cut, just a little where they could
For
just
sure.
you. So let everybody know.
Y'all can find me at Prince Navon on all social media, Instagram, Facebook, Spotify, all of that. My music is out everywhere. Back to the Basics, which is a song that I dropped a couple weeks ago with the visual, is out on YouTube and all other streaming platforms, along with Friendly Reminder. I got a song coming out called Miss Me on August 7th. Be looking for that. That has a crazy visual attached to it too. We gonna have that coming for y'all. Prince Navon, run me up.
Yeah, I heard him. Like, honestly, and I watch a lot of artists. I do a lot with artists. And you're like, honestly, you just give me this breath of fresh air vibe because it's just don't change. You have really great people around you and just want to see you succeed and just, man,
Sure.
I want to be like, he said he was going to perform outside the Hornets. I'm going to be like, he said he was going to do that. Play that back. See, he said it. That's what that's what I foresee. And just got to make sure everybody check you out.
Sure.
They gotta go ahead and stream. Listen, you guys, I always tell y'all, stream, subscribe, hit the little like button, hit the follow button if you're on Spot. Listen, all of that counts. It's important. And most of all, tap in and let the artist know, like, yo, I saw X, Y, and Z. I really rock with that. Listen, I know as what I do, content creator, I know if somebody tells me that, I get very like excited and just it's fuel. So especially when you're being the voice of the voiceless.
For sure.
So just let
Thank you for
everybody
having
know.
me.
Thank you for coming. Shout out to Brittany.
For
Brittany
sure.
is
Shout out to
dope.
Brittany, my publicist. She like that.
She's dope. Love her. Don't leave me just yet. Everybody, make sure that you go ahead, you like, comment, subscribe. Thank you guys so much for tuning in with us today. And hey, catch you next. Let's talk Tuesdays and Thursdays. We are live on Facebook and on YouTube. So check us out. All right, y'all.
Hey, welcome
We
to
out.
Let's Talk Show, hosted by Media Bay. Join me every week for some fun, engaging, and interesting conversations. This week on Let's Talk, I'm going to have recording artist Prince Navon, who at the age of only 15 has already worked with iconic Grammy award-winning multi-platinum producers like Teddy Riley, Jazzy Faye. The list goes on, so tune in.